Good morning, Achaeans, and welcome to today's show. As I mentioned at the end of yesterday's program, today we will be joined by a guest who is a good and popular friend to all of Greece. It's been quite some time since he's been on our show to tell us of his adventures and conquests, and he managed today to spare a little time to come sit down and give us a much-needed update. So, without further delay, let's give this hero a warm welcome. Here is Odysseus! So, Odysseus, O King of Ithaca, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, as you're probably well aware, the entire known world has been wondering where you've been and how you've been busying yourself since you were last on our show. If you recall, we last left you were settling a lawsuit with a son of Poseidon, which you would come out victorious.
Yeah, Polyphemus. Yeah, he foolishly brought that against me without even having a case. None of his surprised witnesses could even testify that I was on the island or that I could have been possible to have poked out his eye.
Well, for those of you who don't know the story, we've got a couple clips from when these two were last together. Let's go ahead and roll that.
What kind of case did you think you would have against me? All your surprised witnesses testified that nobody was hurting you at the time of the accident.
You called yourself nobody in my cave!
Now, I've never gone by that name. And the thought, I'm a well-known hero of Troy. The thought that you and your father brought this case, this whole litigation against me, just to get to my war prizes, was driven home as you started eating half of the jury.
I'll eat you, you dirty trickster! You've ruined my life and dreamed of travel and seeing the world!
Like Judge Athena said, you've got anger issues.
Lord of the sea, I pray to you, curse this wicked fiend! Make him suffer while upon your waves!
But that Cyclops truly is a monster. And until his court order therapy is concluded, he'll not be allowed back on my set. Well, that's old news. Odysseus, how's the life of an epic hero changed since that ordeal?
Life since the trial has certainly had its excitement. I've gone to some of the most beautiful locations and met with some of the most amazing people, seen the most amazing cultures, and tasted the most amazing foods. But our journey has had its fair share of danger. One wrong turn led us to an island of Laestrygonia, and most of my men were eaten by a race of savage cannibals.
Fascinating. But tell me, there's rumors that you heard the song of the sirens. Is this true?
Oh yeah, that bit's true. I had my men tie me to the mast of our ship while I plugged their ears with beeswax.
Oh, that is remarkable. You're probably the only person to have done this and lived.
There was nothing. I've heard the sound of the siren song, and I can tell you, it's beautiful. And in fact, I can understand how some people could give up everything that they have just to continue to listen to it. It could really drive you insane.
What happens next?
The remaining crew and I took some time to recoup on the island before setting off to the Kingdom of the Dead. We went down to the underworld for directions back home to Ithaca, but we were sent through this whole ordeal of battling these monsters, Scylla and Charybdis. Later on, I learned how mutinous crew members can be when we went to the island of the Helios' sun cattle, and my men couldn't resist their appetites for them.
So you and your men went to Thernesia.
Amazing creature those cattle are. Even just last week, we had an expert on immortal bovine come into the show.
I've always been an animal lover. A while before I left for Troy, I got a puppy, Argos. But that was so long ago, I doubt that he'd even remember me. And after that mess, my men were washed out from a storm, and I was washed up onto an island of the nymph Calypso. And there she welcomed me and treated me to every known pleasure.
I've heard she's quite beautiful.
Oh, indeed. Oh, she's very exotic. Yeah, she entertained me, you could say, in her bed.
So how long were you there?
About 7 years.
7 years?
That doesn't allow much time to return home, does it?
Yeah, you could still say that I'm traveling back home from the war. It's been about 19 years since I've seen Ithaca.
Don't you have a wife and child waiting for you in Ithaca?
Well, going off to war is a long affair. The time it takes to resupply and relax my men, I'll admit it took longer than most had expected.
That is intriguing, especially considering who we have prepared for you backstage.
With light shed on his prolonged adventure, we welcome the Queen of Ithaca herself, the beautiful Penelope!
Odysseus? What the scoop of it?
Please, the language.
Off, Santa Claus. I came on the show to see the man I've yearned for so long, and who I thought was fighting in some glorious battle, instead of slapping the face with this shit.
Baby, I can explain.
You better explain. Do you know how long I've waited for you? Do you know what it feels like of living in constant fear of not knowing whether or not the one you love is alive or not? I have spent endless nights shedding countless tears for you. It is heart-wrenching, Odysseus. Our son doesn't even know you. How can I tell him how much of a good person you are if you're not even here? But now with this, you f***ing deadbeat scumbag.
Penelope, my queen. Please listen. Calypso sheltered me on her island. She gave me supplies. Then she refused to let me leave. I was trapped. I couldn't go anywhere.
Trapped? You couldn't fight her off? No. Instead, you came to this show and bragged about sleeping with her.
Calypso offered me immortality and a life as her husband on her island, but I refused it. I knew that path would never bring me back to my true family, my true love. You're my queen.
Do you have any idea how long I have cried? Or how many prayers I've sent to the gods for your safe return home to me? Or how I must passively let all those suitors just trample over your throne?
Every moment away from you has been torture on me. The eternity that I've been cursed to spend adrift at sea has changed me. It's destroyed me. And I've become a more humble man. I've done things on my journey that I'm not proud of, but I can't change. I've never been able to deceive you, Penelope. Maybe that's just the reason why I love you so madly. I'm sorry for all this pain that I've caused.
Well, this is a touching sight indeed. But there is still one picture missing to this puzzle. Odysseus, it has been 19 years since you've last seen your son. So let's welcome to the stage the Prince of Ithaca, the one and only Telemachus.
Father?
Odysseus, I can explain.
We learned today that the story of a beloved hero is never easy and free of controversy. We saw how emotionally damaging a 20-year journey away from home can be, but we also saw how strongly the love between two people can mend such tremendous damage. It seems to me that the idea of an inspiring heroic figure, paraded and exalted for positive and moral influence within a society, is universal. Quite an epic story this Odysseus experience, though. To sail the seas and triumph over dangerous beasts and withstand tempting desires has been a dream that has just become too out of reach for this old man. But no justice is done by allowing this story to fade away into forgotten history.
Someone must put this to pen, so that it is remembered. Besides, this gig of being on TV is getting old anyways.